Welcome to Science. We're moving on to Chapter 7. In Chapter 7, we're going to talk about ecosystems and the wonder that the ecosystems are. You just got done with your biome units where you learned about population, community to ecosystems. Uh, we'll talk about more of the interaction that goes on in the ecosystem. The career that you might want to choose this time is to become a park ranger who knows all about national parks, wildlife, plant life. What a great life it would be to sit in a national park, enjoy the great outdoors, take care of some of the things, rescue a lost hiker, right? So there's a little bit about a park ranger. As you cruise on, we're going to learn about all the different animals that are in an ecosystem. We're going to spend some time talking about food chains and food pyramids and things like this as things go on and how we take care of our um, different ecosystems. Okay, the experiment at the beginning of this lesson is an owl pellet. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to teach you the reading, then I'll go back and I'll show you what the owl pellet is. It's how we study what an owl will eat. If we were in person, you'd have got to be able to experience this wonderful opportunity, but tragically we're not in person, so I'm going to experience the wonderful opportunity and you get to watch it. Okay, let's do our skill for the week, or chapter I should say. We're learning how the reading skill of prediction, and you got your notes sitting over here. They're going to come pretty fast. A prediction is a guess about what is going to happen in the future. 2 blanks from that first sentence. It's based on observation. It's also based on facts, and it's based on your previous knowledge. It's based on what you already know. So we got to learn to become really good at this, guys. This is a great skill to have, like when we go through history class, to be able to say, okay, I know this about this civilization, I know this about the civilization because I've studied other ancient civilizations. Here's what I think is going to happen. When we read novels, guys, we like to do that. We like to predict the ending, don't we? That's what we're doing. Being able to make predictions as you read science will help you put ideas together. So your number 3 notes, guys. In other words, it's just a good skill to be able to say, I can take these facts and previous knowledge and put them together and predict how this is going to work out. It makes all sense to me how those things work out. Let's learn how to do it. Step 1, when making a prediction, you must identify the important facts. So I got to get what's important and is truthful. It's a fact. 2, use the facts and your previous knowledge to decide what is likely to happen. Will we be right all the time? No, we won't. Some of the best novels I've ever read, I think I know what's happening, all of a sudden, boom, there's a twist. I'm like, oh, I did not see that coming. And that makes him a really good author, right? When they don't do what's happening because of the twist. They make you think one thing, they're making you predict, and then they twist it up on you. All right, let's see how this works. Some facts are marked in this article. If you were to study the interaction among organisms in a field, you would easily see how one organism depends on another. The field is filled with grasses and other plants. Fact 1. The many crickets and grasshoppers there eat the plants. Fact 2. The shrew, which is like a small little mouse, guys. The shrew, in turn, eats the crickets and the grasshoppers. Fact 3. Only the lone owl that eats the shrew, fact 4, is safe from being eaten. So in this field, there's not a predator that eats an owl. What would happen to all these organisms if most of the plants died? So guys, here's your chance. You're going to predict what would happen if all the plants die. Well, if all the plants die, what's going to happen to the crickets and grasshoppers who eat the plants? What would happen to the shrew who eats the crickets and grasshoppers? And what would happen to the owl who eats the shrew? So take your sentence and write your prediction. That's practicing it once, just the prediction. Now on the bottom here, guys, it's a step more. I want you to list some facts and then answer the 2 questions that are in the story. Now, depending on what you think of as important facts, guys, there's like 5 or 6 facts in this story. I asked for 4 of them. So if you wrote down the first sentence, deer feed on grass and other plants, great, that's definitely a fact, guys. Okay, if you're like, I've got 4 facts, but there's still another fact there, you feel free to add a 5th fact, but don't sweat it, guys. There's more facts than there are lines. Okay, I'll read the paragraph to you, and then I'll tell you what you need to do on these last 2, although I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Deer feed on grass and other plants. A small population of deer was introduced on an island to eat the grass. So we have this island, grass is growing there, it's out of control, and they said, dude, we know how to take care of the grass. We're just going to put a couple of deer out there because deer eat grass. There was plenty to eat, so the deer population grew very large. There were no natural predators to eat the deer. So many deer were born that they ate all the grass and plants. Then many deer starved because there was not enough for them to eat. As a result, the deer population became very small. What happened to the population of plants and grasses next? Okay, so guys, as you read these first lines up here, you wrote down 4 facts. Now, the question 1, what is going to happen to the population of plants and grasses after the deer population became very small? So you're not going back here and saying they ate all the grass. You're saying they ate most of the grass. I know we wrote in here, I think they wrote somewhere that I ate all of it. Maybe we should take it out. They ate most of it, guys. So now the deer starts to die off. What do you think is going to happen now to the population of grass because there are not that many deer to eat them? Then prediction number 2, what will happen to the deer population after prediction number 1 of yours comes true? So let's say number 1, I predicted that the grass population will grow again because there's not enough deer. Then what's going to happen to my deer population because the grass population is growing? That's what they want you to do. Okay? Great skill to have, guys, as we talk about predicting what will happen, and as we work our way through this chapter, you'll see how predicting is very important. Okay, stay tuned. We're going to take apart an owl pellet. All right, 6th grade. Welcome to an owl pellet. Now I'm just going to take this guy apart for you. Okay, so you get an owl pellet that looks like a big fur ball, and I'm just not even going to try to be gentle with it. So you start breaking the owl pellet apart, and you can see all kinds of fun little things inside it, guys. And I'll try to pull some of these fun things out and show them to you a little bit. Okay, so you can see I got a fun little bone there. Another fun little bone. These things look like leg bones to me, maybe some rib bones. I would maybe guess that's a hip bone. Ooh. Maybe a shoulder blade? Ooh, that's fun. A jawbone? You see the little knob on the end and little teeth right there on the side? You can see this thing got destroyed, guys, but there's the other side of the jawbone. So it looked like we got some pieces of a skull in there. I'll see if I can get he's got one in here that might still be whole. Yeah, it looks like another jawbone. So you can see, guys, there's a ton of fur in here. Here's a bigger tooth. I just dropped it. So if you're looking at that, guys, you can kind of see the skull there. It's got broken into pieces, which is too bad, because sometimes you can pull the full skull out, but this owl seemed to have done a number on the animals it ate there and kind of crunched them up a little bit. Okay, so lots of times what happens when an owl eats, guys, is it chomps on it and then it swallows it. and then it sits in its stomach, and the owl digests everything that the owl can digest, and it gets all the nutrients out of the little animal it ate. A lot of time these things, what we're digging through here, will be moles or a little field mouse or a shrew that we talked about 2 minutes ago. Anyways, obviously an owl can't digest the fur of an animal. An owl also can't digest the bones of an animal. So what happens is that stuff sits in the owl's stomach until the owl pukes it back up. And that's what an owl pellet is. And so what you're digging through here is all the bones and stuff that an owl can't digest, that he then vomits out of its body. And then they collect these things and they wrap them up for us, and they sanitize them by cooking them. Okay, so guys, I don't know if you can see this, but there's literally hundreds and hundreds of very small little bones all over the place. And so as I study those bones on a chart and say, wow, this has the shape of a mouse leg bone, I go, I guess an owl eats a mouse, or this is a shrew, or this is a mole. That's how I get those ideas. As students have done this in the past, we've identified birds. They've been little beaks in there that obviously an owl ate a different bird to go along with it. So it's kind of fun. That's how we learn the diet of an animal, is by literally studying what comes out of the animal, either by watching what it kills, if we've seen that, or by looking at the remains of something to go along with it. But it's a fun little example of it. Okay, so you want some extra credit on top of your worksheet. You can write down owl eats shrew and mole, because those would be the guesses from the bones that I'm looking at. Extra credit number 2, owl pellet equals, so in other words, what's an owl pellet? What an owl can't digest and then pukes it out. So now you know what an owl pellet is. Okay, so it's kind of disgusting when you think we're looking through what an owl pukes out, but it's not as bad as what a lot of students think. It didn't come out of the other end. We'll just leave it at that, right? All right, 6, thanks for watching the video and experiencing an owl pellet. If you're bored and you want to experience the real thing, you can order them online on Amazon. Type in owl pellets, and there's all kinds of owl pellets out there for kids. Have a great day.